just start the stream here. I gotta start with saying this afternoon stream has a hard out time at 5:45. That gives us about 4 hours 20 minutes exactly to try to finish the rest of this game. The game, now I'll say, oh wait, is it a solid 15 that we've never seen? I found it. Okay, there's a lot I need to say before we go. Okay, so last night's stream, when I thought it was the finale, it technically was the finale, but there's still quite a bit left in this game. I'm not going to say I'm going to finish it, because I know I've been saying that for this whole past week, and, you know, it just keeps coming back. And I think it's only coming back because I keep saying that it's going to be it. Does that make sense? So I'm going to not say it's, you know, going to be the end, and I'm going to just not say it. Just not say it. If that makes sense. So like I said, about 4 hours, 20 minutes to try to finish up the rest of this. I'm going to occasionally probably look at a guide just to see that we're hitting everything, make sure we get that. So the first thing I'll say is last night's stream was fun. I ended up going to bed at around like 3 or so my time, maybe. I don't know what time it was, but that sounds right. Because we went super late. So it ended up being like a 6-hour stream. And then I was like, oh, I'll be able to sleep in quite a bit. And then I was still up at like 8 this morning. So I only got like 4.5 hours or so of sleep, which was not ideal. But here I am, and I'm alive, so it's fine. So like I said, I've got a hard out time at 5:45. Currently just a little bit before 1:30. I'm hoping that 4 hours, a little over 4 hours, is going to be plenty of time. If we, no, tonight, I'll probably wait till tonight, even if we finished up super early this. Tonight will then be the start of The Last of Us Part 2 stream. Just keeps getting bumped because of this game. So I'll start also by saying that, as you can see, what I kind of alluded to here, I was checking trophies of this game, and I noticed there's one bad ending still. It looks like not completed. I noticed I didn't get a trophy for completing all bad endings, and I was like, what? This can't be. Just checked before I went live, and in fact, ending number 15, not here. Not done for some reason. I thought I'd done it all, and I was checking my checklist. Remember the checklist I'd mentioned before? And I just didn't write down that number. So either the checklist that I used way back when to write it down online missed it, or I missed it. But I think 15 is the only bad ending here that is now left. So I'm going to go ahead and knock that out here real quick, and then the first order of business will be the pop quiz stuff. So it'll be like pop quiz, question answer, side story, find the other side story, and then that rotation for quite a bit. That might take a while because it's a lot of reading. It's a little side story. It's a lot going on, but we're going to do it. And it'll be great. And I'm hoping, assuming, knock on wood, that this will be the last stream of this. That this will be it. It's basically a channel joke at this time. This game just keeps coming back with more and more. And let me tell you, checked a little bit this morning. Yep, there's still plenty to do in this game. So if you thought, fuck, what else could there be other than the pop quiz and side stories? No. No, my friend. No. There's a lot. There's a lot. So let's get this last bad ending here. Bup. Gotta go way up. Way up, I say. So far up. So far up, you couldn't believe it. Alright, it's a 2-option thing. It's an Achi thing. It's a Kano thing. It's great. go meet with, you know, Rumi and Shizu. And then the bad ending is this away. Back the mic up here a bit. After a time, Isawa could feel himself growing calmer. He took a nice deep breath. First, he took a nice deep breath, then he closed his eyes and tried to banish his nerves completely. Inclining his head toward the music, he could feel the melody pervade his body. He could scarcely believe there had been a time when he hadn't cared about music. Surely something that had such a strong effect on the body and mind alike also conveyed a deeper meaning. Sawa let the positive energy flow through him, buoying his spirits. At last, when his mood had sufficiently calmed under the music's influence, Sawa reached for the handset. The study door opened and a stolid-faced man appeared in the doorway. "I beg your pardon, Mr. Sawa. Would you mind coming to the living room for a moment?" "Certainly, Kajiwara. I can do that." The detectives assembled in the living room and wore grave expressions. The room was brimming with tension, and Sawa felt it ramp up even further as he entered. "What is it?" he asked. "Has something happened?" The man who had come to find him turned to speak, hesitating at first. "Yes. It, turns out that your other daughter, Hitomi, has been abducted by an unknown party." "Abducted?" Sawa's mind whirled. "What are you talking about? Maria's the one who's been abducted." "No, sir, you don't understand. I'm saying that Hitomi has also been abducted in addition to Maria." "Don't be ridiculous." "The night before, his daughter Maria gets kidnapped, and this morning, his other daughter Hitomi gets carried off. When she goes to deliver the ransom, he never heard anything more outrageous in his life. We're sorry, sir. A detective was with her, but..." The police went on to explain that Hitomi had somehow managed to end up all by herself, and while she was alone, several individuals had forced her into a car and driven off. Sawa could barely comprehend what they were saying. His mind was in a fog. The detective's words seemed to grow quieter and quieter. As Sawa's strength drained from his body, his ability to process external stimuli began to drift far, far away. "It's not possible. It can't be. Could no one keep them safe? Not me. Not anyone. My girls, they... Hitomi. Maria. It's not true. This is all just a bad dream. Some kind of sick joke. It's not true. It's not all just a bad dream. It's a lie. It's a twisted joke. Someone made this all up. Stop it. Stop saying this. I don't want to hear it. Tell me. It's all a lie. Tell me it isn't true. Tell me now. Please tell me this is a nightmare. Tell me. Please tell me this isn't true. Not true." Slowly, the ceiling began to spin. Then Asawa's vision went awash with white. The worst case scenario. Asawa had a complete mental breakdown when he learned that not just one, but both of his daughters were kidnapped. But surely there has to be someone who can keep Hitomi safe. She's been on the run with Achi, but just what are they up to? The key to changing her fate, and her father's, lies with Achi's decision at 11:05. Now that should be the last bad ending. Okay, so go back in here. Let me reset the timeline here. I'll check the trophies real quick to make sure that I did indeed get the last. And then let me reset what I had here as well. I forgot to put on, before I start streaming, my lucky streaming sweats. Should have done that. Maybe I will do that before we get too much further into this. Okay, let me check real quick. I'm gonna mute mic and then go to that blue screen that we also love. Check on the trophy here. Yes, that is in fact the last bad ending. All bad endings obtained. I don't know how I missed it before, but it is what it is. Alright, so it's going to be pop quizzes, as we know, and then these special episodes. Of course, we see pop quizzes, and if this follows the same order, we'll get 3 through 11, so that's 9 more. And then once we do the 9 more, we unlock a little hint as to where to go in the actual story to then get the other halves of them with other characters. So we're going to get quite a bit of reading, quite a bit of pop quizzes. If I don't know the answers to the quizzes or I don't know where the story bit is, I'm going to look it up on a guide because fuck it. I can't be bothered to just waste more time doing, not just seeing the story to the end, okay? Got it. So, before I do that, before we do that, I'm gonna go into here. I'm curious. Did me getting all bad endings unlock anything else? Anything new? Or just the trophies? Who fucking knows? I guess I can check this way, right? No. Nobody Suzune is still there. Alright, I'm gonna switch pants to get comfortable. I'm also probably gonna get a drink here so that we can relax for the next 4 hours at max and finish this thing. So give me like a minute here. Alright, let's do these pop quizzes. I think I gotta go. Yes. Yes, he said. I'm still not complete. Oh, on to question 3. The discounted price for Miracle Stone, including currency. Oh, these questions, man. Like, I get it. Partly you want to, like, go and they're like, oh, try to remember the story, where in the story that was, and then go find the answer, but in this economy, no one's got that kind of time. I also respect the keyboard being a QWERTY keyboard thing here. Appreciate it. Let me see this answer. Let me see. Let me search my mind's eye. Ah, yes. I now remember. It's, do I need a space in here? Probably. Ah, shit! What do you mean, no? What do you mean, no? Do I have to do no space? I'm sorry, game, but my mind's eye was telling me that that's correct. Oh, wait. I missed a 0. I misread it out of my mind's eye. Thanks, game. Oh, a Yanagashita side story. I was in France on business at the time. Man, it's a lot different reading these when you're not dead-ass tired. I was in France on business at the time, staying in a cheap apartment on the banks of the Seine. Monsieur Yanagashita, you must pay those 10,000 euros at once. Yeah, that was how Marcel Poitier, a general goods trader, greeted me when I opened my apartment door. It was the most unsophisticated bit of French I'd heard by far in my time there along the Seine. Seine? Whatever. Ah, well, you see, this is all rather sudden. 2 days earlier, I'd purchased some health products from Marcel. We'd agreed that I could pay the 10,000 euro bill a month later, and now, here he was, telling me I needed to pay up at once. Monsieur, if you would please, 10,000 euros right now. Marcel, I'm sorry, but I don't have that money, I replied with my own halting French. We had a deal that I could pay a month from now, didn't we? That's not what I want to hear, monsieur. What I want to hear from you is, oui, Marcel. Don't worry, I'll have it right away. Hadn't yet sold any of the health products I'd procured from Marcel. It was flat out of cash. Couldn't have paid up even if I wanted to. What in the world is going on? Why are you suddenly demanding that I pay right now? Monsieur, I need that money, whatever it takes, by this evening. He pointed a finger at me. You absolutely must have it by this evening, otherwise you'll find yourself sinking to the bottom of the Strait of Dover. I'll be in touch. And with that, Marcel departed. Oh man, now what am I gonna do? That bit of grumbling there was in Japanese. I don't have 10,000 euros anywhere. My reflections in the waters of the Seine looked miserably distorted. Miserably distorted. Yanugi? Yanugi? I looked up. There was only one person who called me Yanugi, on account of not being able to pronounce my name. Isabel? The woman my heart had once burned for stood in the doorway. Isabel, what are you doing here? Work. I'll be here in Paris for a while. I see. Well, what a coincidence. You're as beautiful as ever, I see. And your hairstyle's the same as ever, too. The sight of a familiar face bolstered my spirits, at least somewhat. She may have firmly rejected my advances, but I still loved her all the same. I've been hearing a lot about you, Isabel told me. The businessman who hops around all over the world. Oh, I'm just always living on the edge is all. And when you're doing business with the world, sometimes, even though you know it's dangerous, you need to leap off that edge. Well, so, there's this product that I simply had to recommend to you here. Here. Oh, here. Yeah, here. Isabel pulled a doll from her handbag and presented it to me. What's this? Isn't it cute? It's a mascot based on Indonesian folk art. Don't you think they'd be a huge hit in Japan? It had bumpy green skin and bloodshot eyes. There were sharp claws on the ends of its lizard-like hands and feet. Not only was it not charming, quite frankly, it gave me the creeps. Look, I'm sorry, Isabel, but I don't think I need something like this. Why not? Why not, huh? No matter how I looked at it, this just wasn't a design that would sell in Japan. Go on, push on its back. Its back, give it a push. I did as instructed. The doll's arms and legs waggled almost apologetically. See? Isn't that marvelous? Well... My brows knit as I tried not to frown in front of her. But she sensed my efforts and her expression turned sad. Oh, you don't like it, do you? How many of these dolls do you have, I asked, feeling something like pity. Around 3,000 or so? Wow, 3,000? Would you take them off my hands? Look, I'm sorry, but I really can't. But if some other opportunity comes along... I see. I guess I should have expected that with a doll this creepy. Isabel turned her back to me, forlorn. And then she muttered softly. I've been thinking of throwing in an extra 10,000 euros if you took them off my hands, but... Oh? What was that just now? Whoa, hey, hold on, Isabel, hold on. I hurried around in front of her. Could you repeat what you just said, please? You said if I took them off your hands for you, I'd throw in 10,000 euros. That's it! I thrust my pointer finger forward triumphantly. With 10,000 euros coming in, I'd be able to pay what I owed Marcel. Okay, Isabel, because it's you, I'll happily take those 10,000 euros. Well, I mean, it's the dolls, not the 10,000 euros. Please, give me those 10,000 euros. But the dolls and the 10,000 euros. Okay, I'll bring everything here. How about tonight? No, now, before tonight. I can't do that. Tonight is the soonest I can make it happen. Guess I don't have much choice. I'll just have to make Marcel wait a little longer. I murmured that last part so that Isabel couldn't hear. So, alright, Isabel, tonight then. Thank you, Yanuki. And don't forget the 10,000 euros. Don't worry, I'll have it for you in cash. Isabel held out her hands. Really do appreciate this. I'll see you later tonight then. I shook her hand firmly. Likewise. Bonsoir. Bonsoir? I don't know, fucking know. Looking quite happy, Isabel departed. Whew, looks like I've got the 10,000 euro thing settled. I let out a breath I hadn't even realized I'd been holding. When evening came, Marcel returned. Do you have the money? No pleasantries, just right to dunning me. I decided not to point out his impertinence. Ah, yes, absolutely, I replied, grinning as I gave him a thumbs up. Really? You really are my best friend. Now, hurry up and hand it over. With a bright smile, Marcel held out one hand. Well, I can't give it to you right this minute. Why not? Didn't you just tell me you had it a few seconds ago? Please, you'll just need to wait until tonight. 10,000 euros are coming then. Merde! Marcel snapped her in the face. Please, Marcel, surely you can wait a minute. We're best friends, right? Hear me out, that's all I ask. You're not my best friend, you're a liar. He who will steal an egg will steal an ox. Look, Marcel, calm down. If you just take it easy and wait until tonight, I can give you the money. I promise. Or would you prefer I take that swim in the Strait of Dover right now instead and give you nothing? That put Marcel's railing to an end. At that, he finally agreed, but he insisted on waiting with me. And so we both waited for Isabel, there in that cheap apartment. I sat on the floor holding my knees and Marcel followed suit. I suppose you must despise me for this, huh? He mumbled. He picked up a spoon that was lying on the floor near his feet and hurled it through an open window into the scene. It disappeared with a sad, lonely plunk. I can't blame you, he said, what with how I showed up out of the blue, demanding that you pay up. Next, he tossed an alarm clock into the river. There was another plunk as before. I suppose I owe you a proper explanation, Yanagashita. Marcel was going to throw the TV remote next, but I reached out to stop him. Tell me, Marcel. So, I've been saddled with some merchandise that's a real pain, he began. The light of the setting sun shone upon his face. I can now see the bags underneath his eyes. The man looked exhausted. They say that whoever owes this stuff is cursed. His eyes quivered with fear. They say also that the curse stays with you until you can foist it off to someone else, he continued. I had no idea what he was talking about. Why can't you just throw the stuff out? If you do that, the curse only becomes more powerful. Now he was trembling dramatically. Whatever had spooked him, he wasn't his usual self, that was for sure. What happened to you because of this curse so far, I asked. Well, for example, I am loath to recount here what Marcel told me next, but suffice to say, it was horrifying. Oh my, that's awful. And so I marked these things down to what's practically a giveaway price just to be rid of the lot. But I haven't sold a single one, and the warehouse storage fees aren't exactly insignificant. Marcel shook his head from side to side, his expression positively haggard. So then, I thought maybe there was some fool someplace I could push the inventory off onto. Just give it away. If I threw in 10,000 euros to go with it, someone had to be dumb enough to take it, I figured. I see, so that's why you need the money so urgently then. It's all coming back around. At last, I understood. But it's alright now. A little while ago, one of my colleagues called to say they'd found just the right sucker. That's good to hear. Yeah, so I need to go with them to hand over the money along with the product inventory. I see. You're a lifesaver, Yanagashita. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. I know French. It's another one of the languages I know perfectly. No. De read, Marcel. Huh? What? What was that? Come again now? But man, it's hard to believe someone was dumb enough to actually want this stuff, even with 10,000 euros thrown in, Marcel said. He let out a little chuckle. Hold on a sec. Marcel, can I ask you something real quick? What is it? This colleague you mentioned, the one who found your sucker. It's not a woman named Isabel, is it? Oh, you know her? Yeah, Isabel's great. Got a real knack for finding marks. She's quite the lady. I did the mental math. I give 10,000 euros to Marcel. Marcel gives that 10,000 euros to Isabel, along with the cursed merchandise. Isabel gives me 10,000 euros and the dolls. I give the 10,000 euros to Marcel. Marcel? These cursed goods, do they happen to be creepy green dolls? Oui, monsieur. He flashed a broad, toothy grin. I slapped myself on the forehead good and hard. Fiend. That's good. That's a good story. Did you enjoy our tale of Yanagashita's bittersweet younger days? If you slapped yourself on the forehead along with him, we've got some new information for you. In Kano's story in the 1500 time block, there's a scene where Kano and Stanley are running. Maybe try sticking around for a bit to take a good close look, and we'll see you again next time. 1500 Kano. So these stories take about like 10 minutes to read.
第4問
Not yet. Not yet. $1,500. Must find. Search the mind's eye again. Was this what I had seen? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Dictum 14. But be sure to die a stepping stone yourself. I like that line. We gotta run. A scene where Stanley and Kano are running. Blue minivan, run! Here we go. It's any scene that's like slightly moving. Is it gonna be on the right side of the screen again? It's so slow. Incredibly slow. Boom. 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 It is this screen, right? I'll be pissed if it's not this. I've just wasted time. I don't think it's this screen. I think I fucked up. Oh, I'm so dumb. It's not this screen. Oh, God. Oh, no. I mistook the slight movement for... this scene. No, this isn't. Am I going crazy? I'm potentially going crazy. Maybe it was that screen and I was just impatient. Oh, God. I'm gonna search something else here. What are they even called? Secret stories? Hidden episodes? Damn it, I cleared it. Let me go here then. Just don't mind me. Okay. I'm the one who deserves to get hit. I don't know where... Oh wait, it might be here. How did I pass this up? How did I pass the scene up? I'm a dum-dum. The biggest dumb that ever did dumb. I think it was just because I was like panicking. Hopefully it comes up soon. Oh, here it is. It's not that slow. It is hiya, 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 hiya. Oh, it's Rumi, the person whose face we still don't really know. Special episode. I'm not sure I get what you mean by special, but you're not sharing a bunch of half-truths about my daughter with anyone. What? Rumi Kudo. Special episode. I'm not sure I get what you mean by special, but you're not sharing a bunch of half-truths about my daughter with anyone. Are we interviewing the dad about her? The end. Well, that's what I'd like to say. But you've worked too hard trying to find this thing, so it'd be rude to leave you with just that. My name is Shizu Kudo. Rumi is my only daughter. That's weird. Maybe it's presumptuous of me to brag, but today, let me talk a little bit about her. I won't miss words. Rumi is beautiful. After we walk through Shibuya together today, I feel that more strongly than ever. All the other women out on the street made my Rumi look even more dazzling by comparison. That's how much her good looks stand out in a crowd. There's no end to the trouble that comes your way when you have a daughter that gorgeous. You never know where or when some low-life boyfriend might latch onto her. Still, using the techniques I fostered during my police days, like keeping tabs on Rumi's daily activities, isn't too difficult. When she heads someplace even slightly dangerous, I make sure to tail her from a distance in order to keep a watchful eye on her. Helicopter parent. When work doesn't let me do that, I have one of my off-duty colleagues go in my stead. Let me tell you about what happened one summer several years ago. At the time, Rumi was in high school, and she told me she was going to a fireworks festival with her friends. There were going to be tens of thousands of people at the festival. Tailing her in a crowd that size would likely be impossible. And so, I entered a bid to be the person in charge of security for the event. I drafted up a high-level security plan and got to head things up on site the day of. Thanks to that, the event went off without a hitch, and I was able to keep my Rumi completely safe. May have gone way over the security budget, but what else was I supposed to do when my daughter's safety was at stake? No doubt there are some people who think that I go too far in my actions. And to those people, let me just make one thing abundantly clear. I most certainly do not go too far. In fact, if you saw how lovely Rumi is, you'd probably think I wasn't going far enough. And I'm not saying that with any parental bias or anything either, sure. However, you know, Rumi was chosen as Midoriyama Academy's Miss Midoriyama too. And I didn't have any part in making that happen. I did consider orchestrating things ahead of time, but I didn't have any connections with the Ministry of Education, so that wasn't an option. My point is, I put my strongest efforts into taking care of my daughter. I have loved her uncompromisingly, and yet, I need to accept that someday she'll leave the nest. The problem is that the guy she fell for is a detective. That was my blind spot. I never considered that Rumi might fall in love with a detective. Choosing a civil servant as a marriage prospect is all well and good. Still, if he's going to be a civil servant, he should be anything but a detective. Lately, though, my insistence on that point has been starting to waver. After long years I spent working as a detective, I can tell what my girl is really thinking with every word, every little change in expression. Rumi's feelings for her boyfriend are the real deal. She loves him from the bottom of her heart, and he's very dear to her. Maybe she even loves him more than her own father. He's the man Rumi chose. He's probably got his act together too. The fact that he's a detective still bothers me, but I can't deny my daughter her happiness forever. When I think about how she feels, I wonder if I should let her marry him. But I'm a stubborn man. I've been opposed to her getting married this whole time. My body language says it clearly enough. No detectives. And if that alone is enough to make a guy back down, well, if that's the case, then good riddance. I can introduce Rumi to a fine civil servant who isn't a detective instead. Maybe in about 10 years or so. Bean. 2 hours later. Back the hell out of here. Oh, I gotta go from here, don't I? How bothersome. Eight more, and then another 8 more. So like 16 more, apparently. But 8 more quiz questions. Question 4. Fill in the blank. You're the one making the blank argument here. Blank argument here. Who's yelling that? I'm trying to remember, but like... The answer is apparently extreme. The extreme argument? Congrats! The Kinder partners. What a great this. I was always wondering what they were up to. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Tape recorder in hand, Chiaki called out to a pair of young girls who were standing by the statue of Hachiko. Each girl carried a lollipop half the size of her face. What do you two think about Shibuya? The girls looked at one another. Do you not understand the question? Chiaki pressed. The children slowly licked away at their candy. Not really, one of them said at last. Chiaki was taken aback by the girl's grown-up tone. Yeah. The girls nodded at one another, their faces disapproving. Huh? Chiaki was confused. What's going on? Do we know you, lady? Huh? See, this is why people keep saying that adults nowadays have no common sense. Yeah, ease off on the small talk. This is the first time we've even met, after all. Didn't your mom teach you any manners? Chiaki took a step backward and wrapped her arms around herself as the children stared at her coldly. I'm sorry to have upset you. It's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. Being treated like a child by small children made Chiaki blush bright red with embarrassment. Their arrogant reproach, made her too flustered to fully process the situation. So what's up? One of the girls went on. Excuse me? Chiaki said wearily. You were asking about Shibuya? Oh, yes, of course, recoiling some more under the children's gaze, Chiaki chose her words very carefully. So, what do you two think about the city of Shibuya? Perhaps? The pair quickly lowered their eyes, their expressions forlorn. It used to be so nice way back when. Way back? Just when was way back for these two? Nowadays, Shibuya's gotten all dead quiet. Yeah, it used to be back in the day we could go stand around here and see something interesting go down, day in and day out. Chiaki was utterly dumbfounded by the girl's ostensible. I was trying to add syllables there. Worldliness. She listened in fascination as they continued. Yeah, but even that was maybe something that sort of hinged on your mood. I hear you. Maybe it's just our mindset that's changed, that's all. So I'm guessing you've got tests coming up? Yeah, my mom just will not shut up about nagging me to study. I'm about to start practicing for interviews myself. Oh, it's too early for that. Besides, if anyone messes up the real thing, it's the parent. At some point, Chiaki had become a bystander, the girl searing back and forth. Man, I wish I had more freedom to do stuff. I started taking piano lessons to help with the enrollment test, too. Guess you'll never wind up rich if you don't go all out. I hate money. Rich people always have these awful sunken-in faces. Yeah, a while back I saw a father and son buying an entire box of trading cards, and they both looked hideous. Yikes. It's kind of a sad story, though. The kid looked like he really wanted something else instead. That's the impression I got anyway. And as usual, the parent was completely oblivious. Yeah, and so the kid had to put on this fake smile of appreciation and everything. I know how that goes. Chiaki felt increasingly inclined to leave, but she wasn't sure how to do so gracefully. Parents these days, she reflected, were foisting off an awful lot of things onto their children. They seemed completely ignorant of how much of a burden was too much. As she stood vacillating, the conversation continued. But yeah, when our kindergarten teacher plays the organ, there's some real soul to it. It's so moving. Oh, I love her organ playing. Even if it doesn't have anything to do with test prep, you need to learn how to play an instrument. Yeah, maybe I ought to change up my way of life. Chiaki began to feel ashamed of herself. Ashamed that she'd been so simple in her thinking as to expect this interview to be easy. These kids were having a really tough time with things. Feeling pathetic for her own shallow short-sightedness, Chiaki sank down to the pavement. Whoa, hey lady, what's the matter? One of the girls asked. Chiaki hung her head. You got a tummy ache? Want some of this? The other girl held out her lollipop. No, it's not that. Chiaki was only barely managing to contain her tears. Are you worried that this interview is not going well? You shouldn't let it get to you. It's not the end of the world or anything. The cheer on the girl's face brought Chiaki a small flush of consolation. Yeah, keep your chin up. We can keep going with the interview. We can talk about whatever. There's this place I grab food from a lot that my mom doesn't know about. Maybe we can talk there. They've got these stupid, tasty agar jelly strips. Ew. Yeah, my mom tells me I shouldn't spend too much on snacks, but you gotta sneak a little of that into your routine. Two girls gently patted Chiaki atop the head. She could tell it just wasn't going to be her day. Fiend. Did you enjoy our tale of these precocious preschoolers? None of us can go back to our childhoods, but we can give you some good hints. In Achi's story in the 1500 time block, Achi and Hitomi flagged down by Minorikawa. Take a close look after that. This path leads to a bad ending, so the clue might be tough to spot. 1500 Achi story. 1500 Achi story and a bad ending.
자, 第5問
Oh, no, back up. Okay, so here we go. Back here, boop, 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 bop on over. Also, it's in a bad ending, so I have to do it, read the story, and then reset the timeline again. So much work, man, to see everything this game has. Not gonna lie. So let's see, 1500 it says Minorikawa. And it says... I gotta select answer B here. Set up a bad ending. And then 05. And then let's see. Apparently it's somewhere around here. I guess I should probably just wait for the screen to move and then be like, oh, that's probably the scene. Is it this? Is this moving? Is the screen moving? Yeah, the screen's definitely moving. Okay, I was like, I can't tell. But then if you look really closely, it's like sliding up. So I'd assume it's gonna, if it's here, reveal at the bottom. God, it's moving so slow, this one. I just gotta remember to reset after this story. I see the bottle. Oh, what is it? I can't see. Oh, why is this one going so slow? Man, this is really clever, though. Like, I assume you probably could have found these at the very beginning of the game if you stuck on screen forever for whatever reason, and then... Looks like it's gonna be... Nope. Did I do it wrong? There we go. I think I only hit side once there. It's the waitress. Ryoku Kakinuma. Her name may not ring a bell, but you might recognize her as one of the waitresses who works at the Café Loutre. She's currently enrolled in the law school at Midoriyama Academy. Her hope for the future is, of course, to become a lawyer. Revisions to the bar exam have made that challenge a trifle easier, but it's still a tough obstacle to overcome. She practically studies in her sleep. Listening in on trials is one of Ryoko's hobbies. She takes the Tokyo Metro Hibiya line to Kasumigaseka station, then heads to the nearby court building to observe whatever's going on there. Ryoko is especially fond of the district court, which handles the first hearing in local cases. Trials can be quite interesting. They're like little dramas about human emotions and desires. But recently, in the course of her courtroom visits, Ryoko found herself with a new reason to be present. She caught sight of a man in the courtroom who utterly intrigued her. She wanted to approach him, wanted to talk to him, but it was never going to happen. Now then, shall we begin? His low, honeyed voice made Ryoko's heart melt. Would the defendant please come forward? The man who had so fascinated her was the presiding judge. His eyes glimmered with cool intellect, while his wild shock of hair hinted at a rugged individualism. Ryoko couldn't help it. She wanted to be closer to this man. But the judge's bench was so very far removed from the visitor's gallery. Oh, what can I possibly do to get near him? Should I sully my hands with some crime? If I did, he'd have to look at me in the eyes as he rendered judgment. Jesus. The more absurd Ryoko's fantasy grew, the more the judge consumed her thoughts. Today, as she waited for a court session to begin, she could think of nothing else. Ryoko sat in the visitor's gallery, wearing a brightly patterned dress. Would he notice and find her change of style appealing? What if he thought it didn't suit her? She vacillated between getting worked up in a good way and in a bad way, as she imagined him thinking one thing or the other. You're always in here, aren't you? Ryoko turned at the voice to see a group of middle-aged women gathering behind her. All of them had gaudily dyed hair and sported gold necklaces and rings. And who might you be? Ryoko asked, with some trepidation. You made eye contact with him earlier, didn't you? Huh? Don't play dumb, we know the score. This wasn't making any sense. What are you talking about? The woman's face abruptly turned sour. You need permission from the boss first, one of them said. Otherwise, how could we possibly maintain order? Look, I really don't know what you're getting at here. Could you explain from the beginning? Ryoko asked. The woman sighed in unison. That's a newbie for you, she said one. Now. We were all like that at first, said another. Like Maria. What's that song? What are the words to that? Like Ryoko. Whatever. This is what the story's reminding me of. Very well, I suppose. Allow me to explain. One of the women stepped in front of Ryoko. That's a really weird reference. And if you get that, it's good. We're groupies of the judge who's about to show up. Ryoko's eyes went wide. She never imagined that a judge could even have groupies. But the older woman continued, if we simply do as we please, we'll be a nuisance to the poor man, when of course what we want is to be supportive. The other women nodded in agreement. Bunch of stands. Yes, don't make the first move. Don't try to give him anything. Just look, but don't make too much eye contact. And no hogging him for yourself. We share him with everybody. That's just the basics of groupieism. A normie like you, coming along uninvited, well, you'd best take care not to cause trouble. Groupieism? Normie? These were clearly jargon, but Ryoko had no idea what they might mean. Hey, are you even listening? One of the women asked. Yes, I am. Just, sorry, I don't really understand the words you're using. Groupism? Groupism. I think I was saying groupieism. Is the practice of helping your fellow groupies. Normies mean regular old normal people. Oh, sure, I get it. Ryoko inclined her head. So, what do you want with me? If you're going to be making eyes at that man, you need to be a member. Oh, I what? Ryoko had been indulged in some flight's fancy, but she was content simply to look. Being part of some group that came here to obsess over the judge sounded like a total nuisance. I'll pass. Thank you. I'm fine just looking at the guy by myself. The older woman fiercely narrowed their eyes. I heard that you just referred to his honor as a guy. I do believe that's in violation of Article 2 of the agreement. The agreement has been violated. Punishment must be meted out. Ryoko recoiled as the older woman flew into an uproar. Look, ladies, your weird pact has nothing to do with me. How dare you? As women stood glaring at each other, court staff and officials began filing into the courtroom. The judge was among them. Rather than cease their bickering, however, both sides elected to escalate. Be quiet, the judge called out angrily. I'll have you all thrown out. But none of the combatants could even hear him over the sound of their own voices. The groupies had launched into a rambling tirade about their way of life, the generation gap, their academic history, social standing, and stock indices. As the form of argument went far beyond unproductive. Ryoko had been pushed to her limits. How about we have him settle this matter for us, she shouted. The other woman abruptly fell silent, taken aback. This is a courtroom. Let's ask the judge to decide who's in the right. Ryoko rushed to the front of the visitors gallery, called out to the judge. These women are being weird, right? Could I please have an official verdict? The other women were quick to fire back. This young lady is at fault for not knowing her place. We've done nothing wrong. The judge stared at them, his face suddenly a mask of stern deliberation. Ryoko and the others held their breaths. You're both in the wrong. The stern rebuke elicited peals of joy from Ryoko and the other woman. More, say something else, please. Oh, please, deliberate some more. All of you, behave. The judge's tone was even harsher now, but Ryoko and the others had to shriek in more gleefully. I said behave, the judge roared. He hurled the object he'd been carrying at the giddy group in the gallery. Bulky and heavy, it hurtled through the air. Ryoko and the others reached out their arms, each struggling to be the first to get her hands on it. Lunging forward at the last instant, Ryoko landed the catch. I'll be taking this, thanks. With a cry of triumph, she dashed out of the courtroom. As she exited the building, she could hear the older women crying out in dismay behind her. She grinned gleefully, clutching her prize to her chest. It remains her proudest possession to this day. That judge's personal copy of the Compendium of Laws. Bean. Good. Big fan of that. Now I gotta go fix the timeline here. Now I need to select back A to reset. Cool, I think we're good there. Back to the quiz. Also, I'm gonna have to take a very quick, short bathroom break here. Unfortunately. So, it shouldn't take long, and we'll do the pop quiz. Okay, I was just counting again. Using my fingers, of course. Okay, I'll be back in like 5 minutes at most. I'll be right back. How do you solve a problem like Maria? That's what I'm thinking of. That's the line of the song. Sound of Music. I got it.
さあ、第5問。
Now this, of course, I do remember. This is simple. Ah, shit. Oh, wait, I'm spelling it right. It's our favorite girl, Miku! With a fighting pose. A straight right came her way just as she let her down her guard. The blow caught her in the chin, and for an instant she saw white. As she was driven back against the mesh cage, a knee strike hurled toward her. She managed to change positions just in time to dodge and close distance with her opponent. Man, she's tough, Miku thought to herself. Bride's open-weight champion, Crybaby Mizuho, was a dyed-in-the-wool, tried-and-true fighter. One of Miku's eyelids felt like it was badly swollen. She was having a hard time seeing. Mizuho's hardy frame was little more than a blur, and the punch Miku had just taken had left her distinctly unsteady. What if this other woman rushed and tackled her? No doubt Miku would wind up down on the mat where she'd be pummeled over and over. Or perhaps her opponent would instead make use of her expert footwork to deal out some more precision strikes. With the hurt Miku had already taken, dealing with that would be difficult as well. Miku was in a proverbial corner. Oh, how she wanted to just drive a fist right into Mizu's big mouth. What are you gonna do, Miku? Did you come this far just to lose? Mizu closed the gap. Her 180 centimeter tall, 80 kilogram frame came charging in. A thin smile showed up on her doughy face. Miku had first seen Mizuho fight 1 year earlier. Her face radiated weakness, and she cried when she got hit, hence her nickname, Crybaby Mizuho. But through her tears, Mizuho fought desperately, managing in the end to pull off a joint lock that won her the match. The crowd went absolutely wild with the Crybaby fighter's underdog victory, but Miku was not convinced by Mizuho's performance. Mizuho was certainly much stronger than she'd seemed. She'd taken karate lessons at a local dojo up through middle school, she'd been on her high school intramural wrestling team, and lately she had taken up jiu-jitsu. There's no way a woman like that could be such a crybaby. She'd been fighting at half her potential in order to make things more fun for the audience. Miku knew that since the matches at Bride were part of the spectacle. Making things fun for the customers was important. Even so, she wanted to see the champion fight at her full strength. And so she'd fought her way up the ladder to get that chance. After winning the match that put her in position for a shot at the title, Miku had grabbed the microphone and shouted to both Mizuho and the crowd. Mizuho, next time you're fighting me, and we're fighting for real. Afterwards, the manager had been furious. By saying fighting for real, he made it sound like the other matches here at Bride were all fixed. It was true that the matches were indeed for real, but with no outcome decided ahead of time. But Mizuho's Crybaby persona was just an act, even if it was an entertaining one, and she spent the first part of each of her fights putting out a lot of fake tears. Miku scowled at the manager. I don't want to fight Crybaby Mizuho, I want to fight Mizuho. I want a fight that's full force from the get-go. You dumbass, roared the manager. Take one look at her. Amongst the slender-framed fighters on Bride's roster, Mizuho stood out as bulging and burly. Not even by the most charitable standards in the world could her face be called pretty. Jeez. Mizuho was on the roster in the first place because of her crybaby character. If she gave that up, she'd be giving up her position at Bride. Miku fell silent. Was getting a legit fight out of Mizuho impossible then? She fretted anxiously about it until the title match finally came. Once the fight started, though, the other woman in the octagon was no crybaby. Mizuho unleashed a mighty punch the instant the gong sounded. The blow hit Miku like nothing she'd felt before. The impact shocked her even through her guard. Mizuho then shot forward like a rocket, tackling Miku against the cage. Miku clung to her tightly to avoid being taken to the mat. Mizuho whispered into her ear, "You wanted a real fight? Challenge accepted." Mizuho released her, then retreated to the center of the octagonal ring. Then she held out one hand, gesturing as if to say, "Bring it on." A confused uproar rose from the crowd. This wasn't how things usually went. Miku could feel every cell in her body jumping for joy. Yeah! She rushed at Mizu with all her might. But the match quickly developed into a rather one-sided affair. Soon Miku was struggling just to avoid getting KO'd too quickly. Her opponent was strong, stronger than she'd imagined. Mizuho grinned as she charged forward. Miku was out of options. Was the bigger woman coming in for a tackle? As soon as Miku prepared to defend herself against a tackle, a wide hook came her way instead. She barely managed to deflect it. When Mizuho rooted her feet and launched into a flurry of punches, then Miku was astounded by the fury of the attack. The champion threw punch after punch without bothering to guard herself. Finally, Miku was able to follow up with a single counter punch of her own. She landed a clean hit right on the bridge of Mizuho's nose. A stream of blood poured out from one nostril. With a gleeful grin, Mizuho stuck out her tongue and lapped up at her own blood. Ew. And she's at her feet once again more and threw another punch. Powerful blow clipped Miku in the temple, and her head reeled. Enraged, Miku retaliated with a punch of her own. Neither two budged as they traded blows. Before long, amidst the cheers, Miku and Mizuho were merely pummeling each other. There was no skill, no technique, just two bulls butting heads. Miku's molars clattered. Her lungs felt like they might burst. She was at her body's limit. Just a little longer. It was hopeless, she knew that. But she had to hang in there. Just one more punch, she told herself, again and again, just one more punch. Only halfway conscious, she continued battering back at her opponent. There was an especially loud cheer from the crowd, and then suddenly, someone grabbed Miku from behind. Stop, stop! It was the referee. Mizu was sprawled out at Miku's feet. Victory by knockout with a right hook! Even after the ref said it, Miku could scarcely believe what had happened. She stood there in a daze for a while, and then Mizuho came stumbling over to her. You got me, she said, fair and square. As soon as she saw the look of gratitude and respect on Mizuho's face, tears started streaming Miku's cheeks. She tried to hold them back. They just kept coming. Hey now, not only one of us gets to be the crybaby, Mizu said, her voice husky with emotion. Tears had welled up in her eyes too. The two clung to one another, weeping. So glad I was able to get a real match in the end, Mizu whispered into Miku's ear. For several months after that, Miku defended her title. While she was warming up backstage one day, the manager came in carrying a cardboard box. Package for you, Miku. The sender was Mizuho. The box was packed full of oranges. Mizuho had quit the day after that title match. Evidently, she'd gone home and take over her family's farm. Miku peeled the skin off of one, pulled off a section, and ate it. The vibrant, striking, and bittersweet taste, so very reminiscent of their fight, filled her mouth like a little explosion. Feed. Good for you, Miku. Do you enjoy our tale of femme fatales forging a friendship through fighting? Like all the F's there. Well then, put up your dukes because we got some new info for you. In Minorikawa's story, in the 1600 time block, Minorikawa takes a taxi to Heaven Publishing. Passes some strange writing on the road. Maybe take a closer look. Maybe take a good look. Maybe I'll just, take a look here.
第6問
Oh, out of here. Load up. I believe it's, according to this, 1605. I think I just pick whatever I'd had here. Looking for writing on a wall. I'm gonna move the mic again. Ooh. I'm gonna try to reposition this wall so I can more recline here a bit. Ooh. I feel like this should work. taxi driver. I think it might be this. Yeah, I think it's this, so I just gotta wait it out here. Slowly. I could probably just start guessing the button input, couldn't I? In theory. Or I could just look up the actual button inputs if I wanted to. I'm just hitting random button combinations of side and circle. Oh, I think it's coming. Oh, God. We've got about 3 hours left to finish this if we wanted to. If we want to do it on this stream. Oh, we're so close. What is it? That. Ooh, got it. Got it. It's Chakiso! Underneath the dazzling, brightly lit sign was a staircase leading to the basement level entrance. Let me adjust, if I move the mic a bit like that. Yeah. Okay. I stood at the top of the steps. Maybe I should have turned this one down. No, couldn't think like that. There's no way I could turn this down. I've been completely broke with no money and no other work in the offing when Mr. Mino gave me this chance. I'd been tasked with a page of the monthly 4-star general gossip, and I wanted my work to live up to his expectations. I had to do it. But it all started several hours earlier. There's this new establishment that's popular with middle-aged and older folks, Mr. Mino said. I'd like you to go there and get an interview. I was a bit startled by the request. It's popular with old guys, is it? Is this place something risque? Core demographic for the gossip was older men. This readership was often baited with lewd articles. But if the place in question was a porn shop or something similar, wouldn't it be better to send a man instead? No, Mr. Mino said, it's not what you're thinking. It's perfectly fine for women to go there. What sort of establishment is it then? Mr. Mino cleared his throat. From what I hear, they yell at you. Yell at you? Like you pay them to get mad at you on purpose? That's right. What for? It's what I'm sending you to go find out. I made an appointment for you, so get going already. Oh yeah, I'm sure she would love to just get yelled at, because we know Chalky is very much a strong, thick-skinned person. Does not get upset easily. Mr. Mino's barking kicked me into gear, and I found myself heading over to the place. With some trepidation, I made my way down the stairs. People got mad at me all the time when I was out on the job, so I couldn't understand why anyone would want to pay for the privilege of being chewed out. I opened the door at the end of the hall, and my ears were immediately treated to sounds of women's voices, snapping angrily. I told the young man working as the host that I was there for an interview, and he led me to a waiting room. There were female employees in there glaring sharply at the waiting customers. Why are the people who work here so angry? I asked. Oh, that's a service we provide for free. The young host kept his voice low, but there was pride in his response. Every so often, one of the women would click her tongue in disapproval. Each time he heard it, the older man alongside her would sheepishly cast his eyes down. Creepy. I hadn't the foggiest idea why he seemed so happy. I was scared. More like weirded out. If I could have, I would have turned right around and left. But I needed the money, and more importantly, I owed it to Mr. Mino to get the material he wanted. Chiaki Iso, we're ready for you now, said the host. This way, please. Yes, of course. Thank you so much. My voice broke as I gave my reply. Awkwardly, I shuffled out of the waiting room. A woman on a sofa glared at me, shaking her head and tisking 3 times. The private room was maybe 50 square feet, the floor covered with tatami mats. We do hope you enjoy yourself. Please wait here, kneeling in the Seiza position. I did as I was told and got on my knees with my legs folded beneath my thighs. I worried that if I didn't, the host would be mad at me as well. As I waited nervously, I could hear voices coming from the room next door. An older man and a woman were speaking with animation. Oh, bless you. Are you really sorry, you miserable little Ingrid? Bless you, bless you. The heck were they going on about? How could something like this be fun? You sure seem to be enjoying yourself. I looked up to see that a woman had come into the room while I was distracted. It's not every day a girl shows up here. Did I hear correctly? You're here for an interview? Yeah? And do you know just what it means to be scolded? She was older than me and had the bearing of a private secretary. Now she loomed above me with a condescending glare. All I could do was peer back up at her, down there on my knees. Who told you were allowed to look up? Sorry, I quickly broke off eye contact. Where are you looking? Look a person in the eye when you're talking to them. First it was don't look, then it was look. This was absurd. I just wanted to get this over with as quickly as possible. Huddling in on myself, I focused on that hope. The woman let out a deep sigh of disapproval. Are you going to write an article about how you don't understand why people would go out of their way to be scolded? No, of course not. Don't you lie to me. She belted out the words furiously. Well, go on, am I wrong? What are you going to do? Answer me. Eep. I couldn't take it anymore. I wanted to go home. Plus, my butt was getting all sweaty from sitting in Seiza. Look at how weak and subservient you are. You've lived your whole life just running away from your responsibilities. That's why you deserve a chewing out like this. I felt like she'd hit me in the very core. She'd zeroed it right in on all my internal issues I'd been harboring. The fact was, she was right. I'd been a wishy-washy mess my entire life. Back in elementary school, when my gym teacher told me he wasn't going to let me go home until I was able to do a pull-up, I just clung to the metal bar and stared blankly out at the sunset. When I was taking high school entrance exams, there was one time when my train was running late for the test for the school I most wanted to attend, and I just gave up and went home. I was the same now, too. When I was broke and hungry, instead of trying to get work, I'd just lie in bed and stare at the wall. Jeez. I was hopeless. A hopeless excuse for a human being. No, that was going on too easy on... It should be too easy on myself. I was a no-good, worthless, hopeless excuse for a human being. Before I knew it, tears were streaming down my cheeks. What's all this? You think it's okay to cry? People like you are the reason men get all worked up about women using tears as a weapon. Apologize on behalf of women everywhere, right now. I'm sorry. My voice was choked up by tears and ragged with raw emotion. Say it louder. Say it like you mean it. I'm sorry. And that's when I noticed. A group of people had gathered by the doorway. The host who'd shown me around, the woman who worked there, and even more, some other customers were all watching. I looked up, and they broke into applause. Huh? I blurted, bewildered. Amazing, you really know how to take a scolding. Huh? What? I had no idea what was going on. Everyone just kept on clapping. Don't look away like that. No flattering yourself just because you're getting applause. Yes, ma'am. My audience let out a collective cry of awe at my mewling squeak. But the woman, seemingly unsatisfied, proceeded to scold me all the more harshly. In the end, I wound up getting chewed out for twice as long as would be usual. The club was kind enough to set that up for me. Really, though, all I wanted was to get out of there and go home as soon as possible. Chiaki, you're late. What have you been doing? As I came stumbling out of the club, I nearly ran into Mr. Mino, waiting for me by the entrance. Evidently, he'd come to get me when I didn't make it back by the appointed time. I apologized for not calling him and explained the situation. Thankfully, he believed me. So then, how did the interview go? It went great. I got a ton of applause. And so began another harsh chewing out, as Mr. Mino demanded that I explain just what the hell kind of interview I'd been doing. Fin. Good. Alright, 6 more quiz questions.
第6問
Yanagashita is managing director of this company. Isn't it like Health Foods Company Ltd. Inc. maybe? No, I was so wrong, but I remember. It is Yamato space Health Foods. Oh, we get to read about Susumu Nishizawa versus Yoji Kiryu. The day that Achi came back to SOS. The day when, for the first time in a long while, SOS became whole again. Let's go back 2 weeks before that fated reunion. The gang was in the midst of a minor quarrel. But we have to set a proper example. The pool hall fell silent as Kiryu's aggravated outburst. Provoking the new second-in-command was a fine way to wind up victim to the guillotine. And so the other gang members remained tight-lipped, warily looking on. Come on, Susumu. You know I'm right. Susumu didn't flinch under Kiryu's glare. Set an example what? All you want to do is get rowdy because you feel like it. Look, just step aside. I've got business with that little punk behind you. Behind Susumu was a skinny teenager, barely more than a boy. He wore a look of abject terror, like a rabbit caught in a lion's gaze. What exactly is so fun about finding different excuses to terrorize your friends? Susumu added. Kiryu snickered mockingly, then grinned. Good question. Guess it's cool messing with guys who joined up with SOS after I did. The conflict, as usual, had started more or less over nothing. Each night, the members of SOS gathered at their pool hall in Ura, Harajuku. There's no set meet-up time or anything like that. Around the time the place was teeming with other gang members, Kiryu would turn up. Susumu generally appeared shortly afterward. But today, the last person to show up had been the kid Susumu was currently shielding. As the young fellow quickly took a seat, Kiryu had suddenly blown his top. The hell you think you're doing? The kid froze with fear at the ferocious shout. But his cringing demeanor only poured more fuel onto the fire. Whoever shows up last has got to apologize, you know. As Kiryu reached for his favorite makeshift wooden cudgel, Susumu had interposed himself. Susumu, are you seriously trying to tell me that SOS doesn't have a proper pecking order? That's not what I'm saying. Susumu continued to stare Kiryu down. But what's it matter? You don't understand anything anyway. Kiryu suddenly rolled up his right sleeve, then sat down and set his elbow on the table, his right hand raised and open like a claw. Want to settle this with a show of strength? A glimmer of challenge shone in Kiryu's eyes. You're on. Susumu sat down opposite him. Planting his own elbow on the table, he reached across and clasped hands with Kiryu. Kiryu squeezed back as if threatening to crush Susumu's palm in his fingers. If I win, he said, you let me do what I want. Someone stepped out of the crowd to act as referee. It was one of Kiryu's cronies. At once, the bard was gripped with excitement, as if a championship game were on the line. Waste that punk, Susumu. Come on, Susumu, you can do it. The leader had a strong showing of support from the crowd. You got this, Kiryu. But the upstart's backing section wasn't exactly small either. Heh. Looks like we've got them all worked up, Kiryu said. He picked up an empty beer bottle with a free hand, then smashed it against the edge of the table. Removing things here. Shards of broken glass littered the tabletop between their arms. This ought to make things more interesting. Yeah, I bet it will. The referee leaned in, giving the pair of tightly clasped hands a quick tap. Ready? And go! The competitor's biceps bulged. Both men started to shudder visibly. Their arms seemed locked in place, neither giving up. Kiryu flashed a broad, leering grin, a vein popping out against his temple. Man, you really are a wuss. You ain't leader material. You think so, huh? Susumu answered through gritted teeth. If you don't keep him on a tight leash, SOS will fall apart once it's finally gotten big enough. Kiryu grunted as he started to bend Susumu's arm downward. You thick or something? Whoever said anything about SOS getting bigger, Susumu replied. He struggled to force his arm back up. The walls echoed with the sound of people cheering Susumu's name. Bolstered by the support, he mustered up his last reserve of strength. But still his arm could not move. Kiryu's grip held him like a vice. At the best you could do, some leader you are. Then Kiryu put all his strength into his arm. Susumu's knuckles thudded against the table. Thin shards of glass stabbed in the back of his hand. Yeah! Kiryu let out a triumphant cry of victory. Cradling his bloodied hand, Susumu grimaced back at him. Well, that settles it. Fair and square now. I'm gonna teach that kid a lesson. Once more, Kiryu reached for his cudgel. The young fellow tried to bolt away. Stop right there, Susumu called after him. Ha ha. You finally come around then, Susumu? Kiryu asked. He twirled the piece of wood around as he sauntered slowly toward his prey. You stop right there too, Kiryu, Susumu added. Kiryu paused in his tracks. Hey, what gives? The kid tilted his head questioningly. Apologize to Kiryu, Susumu said. The youngster blinked in disbelief. I said apologize, Susumu repeated. Yeah, okay. Kid bowed his head deeply. I'm sorry, Kiryu. That should settle things, right, Kiryu? Kiryu went red in the face. The hell, man? You are kidding me. Enraged, he stepped forward to swing his club at the kid. I told you to stop. Susumu drove his bloody fist right into Kiryu's face. There, he snapped as Kiryu staggered backward. I think that's enough violence for one day. The look on his face was nothing short of blood curdling. If that's still not enough for you, next up we can settle things with our fists. Once again, he and Kiryu were staring daggers at each other. The click of his tongue, Kiryu was the first to look away. Alright, I'll back off for today. Tossing aside his club, he stomped out of the bar. So, thank you so much, murmured the kid apologetically. His gaze was fixed on Susumu's hand. Even as he told the kid not to worry about it, Susumu could feel doubt welling up like a storm inside him. Kiryu had said for today. At some point, the two of them really were going to wind up coming to blows, and Susumu couldn't lose that fight. No matter how tough Kiryu was, Susumu wasn't going to let him become leader of the gang, especially not considering who it was who put Susumu in that position in the first place. With a newfound determination, he clenched his injured fist, even as the blood continued to stream down. Rough. Did you enjoy our tale of a heated showdown between two rivals? Well then, get ready for some fancy footwork, because here comes some sweet new info. In Minorikawa's story, in the 12 o'clock time block, the journalist flags down the man from the knick-knack shop as he's passing on his bicycle. Try waiting until after the background slips away and see what happens. Cool. I think I'd seen that was going to be a bad ending. Path again.
続いて第7問
Here we go. Let's see. So it's... Okay, back out. So I gotta... Of course, load in. Oh, shit. I gotta go way up, don't I? Oh, look at her. Call the police. Jesus. $12.40 Kano. Mr. Toyama. Story we're gonna get here. Okay, I think it's here. I think it's here. Oh, it came quick. I blinked my eyes just a few times. And then it revealed, oh, it's a Hana story. Alright, perhaps growing up means having to give up some things. It's no fun playing with you, Hana. Go home. She'd probably never be able to forget those words, even when she'd grown to adulthood. Hana Toyama loved playing hide and seek. None of her friends could find her when she was hiding. So on the rare occasion when she was it, she found everyone surprisingly fast. When it came to hide and seek, Hana was the best of the best. One might say that she had an exceptional talent. In time, however, the talent turned into resentment. Her outstanding knack for the game made hide and seek pretty boring. Nobody could find her when she was hiding, and nobody stood a chance of hiding from her when she was it. And how could that possibly be fun for anyone? She's being penalized for being good. It's no fun playing with you, Hana. Go home. Anyone whose best friend said something like that would feel pretty wounded. How about I go easy on you then? Hana said to her pal Rico. I don't want anyone to go easy. We'll have more fun if you're gone. Just go home. After that, Hana didn't play with her friends anymore. If she could bear up alone, she thought, the rest of them would enjoy themselves more. And besides, she never wanted to hear anyone tell her to go home again. Her father never made it back home from work until late in that night. This left Hana to spend long afternoons and evenings by herself at home. Around this time was when she started writing poetry to help fill in the time. But as for her hide-and-seek aspirations, those took a sharp turn one day at lunchtime. Oh man, could you just transferred into the class next door is amazing. Shigio, one of the more excitable boys in Hana's class, was pressed up against the classroom window. Man, look at how awesome his reflexes are. He pointed out into the schoolyard. The boys from the class next door were playing dodgeball. One of the teams was down to just a single player. Oh wow, the new kid's the last one left. The opposing team was doing its best to pelt the new student with rubber balls. He managed to avoid them all with nimble ease. Shigio? Or Shigio? I think it's probably Shigio. Wasn't the only one held captive by the new kid's performance. Soon, a whole flock of school children had crowded up to the window. Caught up in the flow of the crowd, Hana found herself standing by the windowsill. I hear he was hide-and-seek champion back at his old school, Shigeo added. Hana perked up. They say he can find anyone in under 5 minutes. Classroom let out a collective wow of astonishment. Getting in under the 5-minute mark was pretty impressive. For Hana to get a similar time, she knew she'd need to go all out. I hear he said he's going to make himself a hide-and-seek legend here at our school, too, Shigeo chirped. No, he can't, Hana shouted. Before she could think better of herself, the classroom fell silent at her abrupt outburst. He can't be hide-and-seek champion. Hana could be stubborn in her own way. She wasn't going to let someone else win the title of hide-and-seek champ if she wasn't part of the games. But Hana couldn't ask to play hide-and-seek with the other kids anymore. Putting her foot down now wasn't going to do her any good. Maybe you want to let him know that then, Hana. This time it was none other than Rico, who had spoken. Let's play hide-and-seek again. We can invite the new kid to play. Hana could hardly have asked for a better suggestion. All right, I'll go up against this new kid. Hana's eyes gleamed with an almost feral determination. The competitive spirit that she locked away had escaped into the open. And if I win, we'll know who the real hide-and-seek champion is. What's this kid's name? Woo, go Taro! That was amazing, Taro! It was Shigeo, face pressed against the window, calling out unthinkingly. Taro. Several days later, the children assembled at the park after school. Hana and Taro, along with Shigeo and Rico, stood in a circle. I've heard about you, Taro said with a challenging sneer. Hana, huh? Pfft, what a dumb name. That's rich coming from someone named Taro, Hana shot back. Let's do this fair and square, guys, Rico said, keeping her tone nice and reasonable. Shigeo could hardly contain his excitement. Oh, this is going to be so cool. Bah! The rules were simple. When Rico and Shigeo were it, whoever was able to stay hidden longer, Hana and Taro would win a point. If either Hana or Taro were it, the other player would win a point if they managed to be the last player found. Taro snickered. Try not to cry when I win, okay? You might want to start thinking of excuses for when you lose, Hana replied. The four used rock, paper, scissors to decide who would be it. There was a long series of ties. Each time, Shigeo would blurt out, "Oh, wow!" Hana was just about to suggest that they split into two groups of two when the stalemate broke. Oh, wow! Shigeo alone had thrown something different, and so he was it. It was time for the first round. Hana employed a hiding while moving tactic, skillfully shifting position to stay in Shigeo's blind spots. She didn't sense Taro anywhere nearby. While she stayed hidden, wondering just where he could be, a rock came hurtling through the bushes right in front of her. Hearing the rustling sound, Shigeo came running in Hana's direction. Oh wow, I found you, Hana! Ha! Shigeo's voice broke into falsetto as he shouted. Wait, did Taro do that? Hana huffed to herself, still vexed by the rock. Hide-and-seek became a much more complex affair after a player had mastered a few tricks. Hana's hiding while moving technique was one of them. Another such trick was to throw a rock far away from yourself in order to draw the seeker's attention away. Taro must have done that, and the side effect was that Hana had gotten caught. Hana could tell that she wasn't going to be able to coast through this competition. If she let her guard down, she'd wind up losing. She had to change her approach. Victory would be hers. She was not going to give up her spot as the school's hide-and-seek champion. A new fire burned in her eyes. It was time for the second round. Once again, Shigeo wound up it after losing rock, paper, scissors. Things were quite different than they'd been in the first round. Right from the outset, Hana and Taro resorted to rock throwing. Shigeo was easily misdirected by the sound of stones landing here and there. Come on, guys, it's dangerous, Rico exclaimed, standing up from the grass after a rock whizzed by her and winding up the first to get caught. Soon afterwards, a clumsy misstep on Taro's part settled the round. He was about to throw another rock when he accidentally stepped on a dry stick with a loud crack. Found you, Taro! Woohoo! Now it was 1-1. After that, the competition became steady back and forth between the two. With each new round, the winner and loser kept switching off, with no clear victor emerging. Shigeo and Rico were starting to get fed up with things, and so it was decided that the next round would be winner-take-all to settle the match. No way am I going to lose, Hana vowed inwardly. One final round. Taro was it. Taro closed his eyes and began counting. 1, 2, 3. The others scattered at once. Hana quickly hid herself in the bed of a truck parked along the road that bounded one edge of the park. 8, 9, 10. Taro finished counting and stood up. Just then, the truck's engine revved up. Huh? The truck took off with Hana still aboard. Continued in Teruo Toyama's episode. Interesting. I have to reset the timeline here, though. Let me see. 12:35 Asawa. I wish you could just, especially once you read the things, just change the order, like reset the time when it's on that screen there and not have to go into them. It would be a massive help, I feel. Okay, so I gotta back. Oh, I gotta do it from this screen. I'm always forgetting. Always forgetting. Also, I hate to jinx it, but something might be popping up for me in real life, so I may not be able... This game, man. What will probably happen, if I have to end it here, or in just about soon, I might just... I still want to finish this all on stream and everything, but The Last of Us 2 should be started tonight, so I'm not going to put it aside more just because... I still haven't finished this, so what'll happen is maybe tomorrow we'll do more of this and maybe finish, who knows, the game that never ends.
続いて第7問
Man, fuck, I don't know, man. Let's consult. I found it. Au revoir, I believe. Space down back. Ah, of course. How fitting. Shinosuke Orai. I might be able to read this and then find the next story in the actual main game. And then I might have to back out for the afternoon here. So what we'll do then at that point is set this up for some more later, probably tomorrow. And then tonight will be the start of The Last of Us Part 2. Because I can't not play that this weekend. Gotta do the things, you know? If I had to compare it to something, it'd be gum stuck to the bottom of a shoe. I, Shinosuke Orai, first came across the impulse when I was young. It's good that you got to see this when you were still little, my parents said to me. We had gone to see one of the Shakespeare's 4 great tragedies, King Lear. The material was a bit difficult for me at my age. Even so, the dazzling sets, the sublime music, and the true-life acting struck me to the very core. How amazing it all was, to think that something like this existed in the world. It was a setting I wanted to hurl myself into. I wanted to move others with the same impulse that had moved me. From then on, those thoughts were never far from my mind. And then, when I was in 2nd grade, I made my debut as a stage director. When the school was deciding the program for the arts festival, I eagerly proposed King Lear. The rest of my class was, of course, rather flabbergasted, but as no other suggestions were put forth, Lear was chosen. I raised my hand to the volunteer as director. Since the rest of the class was unsure what a director even was, no one raised any objections. It was my directorial debut. I poured my heart and soul into it. Little did I realize that I'd started down a road of hardship. We had 10 days of rehearsal before the opening. Why don't you know your lines? I told you that you had to have them memorized by today. Sorry, I forgot. You forgot? You think that's gonna cut it? I lashed out at a classmate who had yet again dropped his lines when we were already well into the rehearsal. How someone could fail to remember 3 measly lines was beyond me. Thinking back now, I've encountered an awful lot of actors over the year who simply refuse to listen to what their director tells them. What makes them so reluctant to faithfully follow directions? Are you really okay with the prospect of flubbing your lines during the actual performance? You can say them yourself, I'm busy. The only thing you're busy with is TV and games. The class suddenly fell silent. I leaned back, sneering at them. A few of the girls began whispering to one another. Ugh, look at him acting all high and mighty when he's not even class rep. Yeah, he's not a teacher. He can't go around telling everyone what to do. Everyone hates the director. I've learned that from my television programs I watched to learn more about drama. The director would pelt the actors and backstage crew with vitriol, toss out absurd instructions without compunction, and even hurl ashtrays across the stage. It was a job to perform without mercy. Directors don't lash out because they're bad people, mind you, but you have to be something of an ogre in order to assure that both you and the audience are satisfied when the curtain falls, to attain the sense of accomplishment that comes from true artistic achievement. Enough of the yammering. In my rage, I searched around for an ashtray. They don't keep those in elementary school classrooms, however, so instead I grabbed and hurled the nearest pencil case. It's only natural for a born director to behave with such intensity. No sooner had I thrown the case, however, that the homeroom teacher snatched me by the scruff of my neck. Before long, I was in the staff room, getting a lecture crammed down my throat. Then I was made to return to the classroom and apologize to everyone. Still, I had not lost my passion for a successful production of King Lear. I would not be disheartened by such a minor setback. At rehearsal after school the following day, the teacher addressed us. In order to take some of the burden off of young Mr. Ori here, everyone will direct the production together. Yes, ma'am, the class replied as one. It was beyond absurd. Naturally, I was vehemently opposed to the idea. Democracy has no place in the world of art. The enjoyment comes from a clash of individuals who excel in their given roles, each refusing to compromise one iota. But the teacher would have none of it. It's all well and good to take this seriously, but we don't want a repeat of what happened yesterday. Let's all be friends, alright? Let's be friends? Did she think that fine art could be created by being friends? I could only grimace at such a laughable misconception. And so began our new rehearsal system. We would practice a scene, and then everyone would offer their opinions about it. You need to look at the person you're speaking to, I railed angrily. Where you look is important. Others chimed in from all around. Oh, what does it matter where you look? What if we tried reciting our lines while jumping? Say, I'm playing a tree. Can I have some dialogue too? I'm trying to figure out if it needs some more yikes or more ta-da. Nobody could tell at this point whose instructions they should follow. From the very outset, it was chaos. Everyone just said whatever they wanted. There's no way I'm holding hands with a boy. This costume looks dumb. How about something more like superhero-y? Give me a new part. I should play the lead. Taste the wrath of the mighty Cornwall Slash. Vroo! Pew pew pew! Ba-boom! Stop all the rambling. Stick to the script. My anger had finally boiled over. We're all supposed to offer our opinions though, right? Yeah, or I quit your belly aching. You're such a bellyacher. Bellyacher, bellyacher, bellyacher! This mad whirlwind, which no one in their right mind could call rehearsal, continued for days. A whole week passed. At last, once everyone had finally realized what the new approach was getting us nowhere, I was reinstated as the play's sole director. There wasn't much time left before the main event. Never before had I thrown so much gusto into the craft. What's with that monotone? You need to put more feeling into it. You're not reading from a textbook. I was not one to go easy on my actors. But I'm shy. No excuses. You're not bringing enough realism to the part. You need to give it more oomph. Okay, fine, I'll try. Thanks to my fierce directing, the others had improved bit by bit. Just a little more patience. A truly grand sense of accomplishment could be ours. At long last, I was sensing a real response to my work. And then it all changed. The boy who was playing the back half of the horse suddenly took down his pants. His underwear came down next. Then he squatted down on the spot, his brow creased with the strain of effort. He was really doing this. The entire class flew into an uproar at this rather sudden development. Girls ran away, boys broke out laughing. The teacher rushed in unthinkingly to cup both hands under the young fellow's backside. Ew! And I just stood there, dumbstruck. Once everything had finally calmed down, I went to talk to him. What were you thinking? I demanded. You said that you wanted more realism, so I figured the horse should take a dump. I had no words. That sure counts as real, all right, someone called out. The class erupted in raucous laughter. The energy drained from me in an instant, and I collapsed to the floor. Real? Was that what real meant on stage? I couldn't deny that taking a dump qualified from a certain perspective. The bowel movement itself had definitely been genuine. It had been live. It gave a certain ambience. Was that wrong? It hadn't been the kind of realism I'd been after. I'd been hoping for something more else, for a sense of tension that went beyond mere fabrication, that expressed the clashing of life's various emotions. In my confusion, I clutched my head. Was this how my art was to fall apart? You stupid amateur! Before I knew it, I'd blown my top, launching into a wild rant. I don't recall what happened next. I didn't recover right away and wound up missing school for a while. The school arts festival went on without me. I heard it was well received. What is art? What is drama? What is man? What is the world? Whenever I try to ask and answer these questions, I always think back to that experience. Back when I was young. If I had to compare it to something, it'd be gum stuck to the bottom of a shoe. No, an AM radio broadcast washed out with static. No, a cut of meat, but that's been steamed for too long. No, perhaps more like a sodden doormat. No, maybe it's like... Yes, it's like something like a love letter, written in the dead of night. Fiend. So dramatic. Did you enjoy our tale of artistic agony? Well, if you're serious about the craft, we've got some good information for you. In Kano's story in the 12 o'clock time block, Kano and Sasayama chase after the kidnapper. Try waiting on that scene a while, see what happens. Have fun with that. See you next time.
第8問、さあどうだ
Back. Alright. One more here, a little special secret episode. This truly is the game that never ends. And it's a good and a bad thing. Mostly good. I just want to knock it out, you know? It's that thing where I'm just like, I wish. Here we go. Let me see. Gotta make sure. Minorikawa stood on the sidewalk, weighing his options. Chiaki's phone. Oh, I don't need to read this. I can just... Is it here? Is it here? Let me see. Okay. I think it's... Fucking face. Are we gonna get a story about the bike junk shop owner man? Probably. The blimp. I gotta make sure I don't miss this. I'm trying to make sure. Oh, extreme argument. Yep, look at that. Am I still in the 12 o'clock? Yeah, okay. Just make sure. Okay, I think it's here. Is it moving very slowly? Is it moving at all? I can barely tell. I think it is. I think. Come on, go a little faster. I start guessing the symbols first. I know it's always 6. Six inputs, and it's always like right and circle. There, I see the blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god, it's so slow, dude. Oh. Oh, come on, I think I'm pressing it right here. There we go. Maybe it has to be exposed for a bit. Tasai Yasuda. The sound of fingers clacking across the keyboard echoed in the dimly lit room. As soon as he'd gotten back to his apartment after his shift at the secondhand shop, Yasuda had gone straight to his computer. Ever since he started his blog, his day didn't feel complete until he made an update. And there we go. Taking a deep breath, Yasuda read back over what he'd just written. It's called mixed martial arts for a reason. It's more than just punching. If your strikes aren't working out, you can go for a takedown or something instead. I shared my observation here on my blog, and then the week after, he managed to get his first win in a fight. I'm positive that he saw my post. So come on, Funayama. So he's a blog boy. If you're lost in the darkness, just lend me your ear. I'll let you know what to do. Another good one today. Feeling pleased, Yasuda clicked the post button. The floor of Yasuda's 100 square foot apartment with kitchenette was littered with mounds of martial arts magazines. So many that there was hardly any room to walk. His tiny LCD TV was set to a martial arts cable network. The TV ran 24 hours a day, and he saved the footage to a hard disk drive, or recorder. And of course, once a week, he would go out to see a fight and then post about it on his blog. His most recent post was typical of his combative tone. He knew that he came off as a little harsh, but his criticism was driven by his love of the sport. His confident online pronouncements did lead to an intense backlash from time to time, however. A few days after his scathing critique of Funayama, for example, Yasuda received a rare response on his blog. The respondent's username was passerby. That's how he took his opponent to the mat toward the end of the match, right? Ugh, seriously, what match were you even watching? And where the hell do you get off offering pointers like that? Yasuda's blood boiled as he read the comment. Where the hell did this person get off? His fingers darted to the keyboard. Huh? First off, who the hell are you? That tag was clearly just him trying not to look like he'd been taken down. You think that was deliberately set up? Pfft, don't make me laugh. STF, you noob. Funayama has been a pretty comprehensive career. has had a pretty comprehensive career. If he had enough humility to hear me out, I'm sure he'd be able to win. Don't you want him to have a bright, bold future? If not, then you can just GTFO. I'm not going to delete your comment because I want other people to be able to see how wrong you are. Satisfied that he'd set the record straight, Yasuda went to bed. Oh, jeez, he's terrible. But the next morning, when he checked his blog before going to work, he noticed immediately that something was unusual. The thread had gone over 300 replies. Wow, someone sure is full of himself. Quit talking like you know more than you do. Maybe you should try stepping into the ring yourself if you're such an expert. Look at me, I can teach some dumbass what I know. People were having a field day. A few of them had come to Yasuda's defense, but they had been dismissed as sock puppet accounts. He snarled as he stared at the monitor, too preoccupied to even think of heading to the shop. Should he close the thread? Should he maybe close the whole blog instead? He leaned back and stared at the ceiling, thinking hard. He could only come to one conclusion. I'm not running from this. I'll take on any challengers, anytime, anywhere. Slapping himself on both cheeks, Yasuda started typing out a new post. You guys don't understand anything. Mixed martial arts, as the name implies, involves a mixture of different fighting styles. Karate, judo, wrestling, boxing, you name it, I've done it. I'm watching these fights on a different level than the rest of you. So STFU, you noobs, I'm gonna school you. It's like a shitty commenter. In reality, not only did Yasuda have no martial arts experience, he had barely participated in any sports in his entire life, clearly. The only place he was a martial artist was inside his own head. His new post generated even more comments than before. 20 comments was usually a good day. This time, he'd easily blown past 3,000. Sweat beaded on Yasuda's forehead. It wasn't out of any apprehension, though. His fighting spirit had been ignited. Yasuda! 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 An imaginary crowd chanted his name in his mind. I'm being tested right now. Tested on my love of the martial arts. That's it. I'm not opening the shop today. This is more important than work. He whipped off his shirt, leaving himself half naked. He smacked himself in the cheeks, repeatedly with his open palms, then turned to face the mirror. You are strong. You are a champion. Kick some ass. You're an ass kicker. You can do it. Pumped up by his pep talk, he let out a high-pitched battle cry. Yeah! Yasuda charged over to the keyboard. Feeling ferocious, he started to type. I think it says something that, like, his form of fighting is over the keyboard. It's very, very good. Good commentary. Yasuda charged over to the keyboard. Feeling ferocious, he started to type. The words rushed out like a wild torrent. Come on, man, he shouted to keep himself psyched up. Shut the hell up, Mr. Yasuda, shouted his neighbor, an Indian exchange student named Mohinder. Oh, from the other side of the apartment wall. We know that guy. Who's mentioned before. I'm over here sneezing. Okay. Yasuda ignored him. After he fired off his post, the internet was quick to respond. When he did, Yasuda fired back again. It was like a fight that had turned into hell-bent brawl, with no concern for defense. Hey, can anyone search this guy's earlier blog post and find out where he is? Uh-oh. I'm pretty sure he said where he works. Now the cyber mob was picking through the details Yasuda had posted, trying to pinpoint where he lived. Ordinarily, he would have been trembling with fear right now, but he refused to back down. Lol, if you're gonna come at me, come at me. I'll take you on any time you want. I'll show you how to pull off an actual tackle. My only worry is accidentally killing someone. Before you fight me, you'll have to sign a waiver absolving me of any liability if you die. If you're still good with that, then bring it on. After posting his defiance, though, he felt a sudden twinge of worry. What if someone really did challenge him? What would he do? He didn't know how to perform a tackle or even throw a punch, really. Still, now was no time to hesitate. He'd deal with any challenges when it came, by taking it promptly to the police. Several months went by, and the flood of heated comments on Yasuda's blog continued. People had managed to track down his address and had learned his real name, but nobody had come to challenge him yet. In all likelihood, Yasuda's commenters were just like him, martial artists in their own minds only. That being said, the case, he decided he could go after them for all he was worth. Whoa, hey now. Are the loudmouths who came to this blog really all talk and no action? Come on. I said I'd take on anyone at any time. If you've got beef with me, come to the statue of Hachiko in Shibuya tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Hell, I'll even pay for your travel. You'll need the money for the medical expenses when I'm done with you. Hey, Yasuda, it's 10 o'clock. Where the hell are you? I'm here. I'm a boxer with 5 years experience. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 7 years and I'm here. Don't see no Yasuda, though. Did Yasuda wuss out and run? Let's go where he works. Don't be idiots. I didn't run off. I was just in the bathroom for a bit because my stomach was acting up. I'm by Hachiko now. How come no one's here? Don't lie, Yasuda. You're the one who's not here. I said I'm here. Where the hell are you? And to this day, the battle of imaginary martial artists versus imaginary martial artists rages on, each competitor still safely ensconced at home. The blog still gets over 1,000 hits a day. It's good commentary. That's good. That is good. I like that. All right. As I said earlier, I do have to part. Unfortunately, still more to do in this game, for sure, as you can see. So far I can tell, there's still 8 more of those secret episode story things. So that's 4 pop quiz answers and then 4 found, I think, here in the story. So we'll go and knock those out next time I play this, which may not be for a little bit, perhaps. But I do still want to finish it all. So, because I do really want to start in on The Last of Us Part 2. Like, that needs to be done, and I kind of really want to start playing that. So, and I don't want to, like, have to feel like I need to finish this before I start that. So, this will be on just the slightest, probably back burner. Maybe might pick it back up tomorrow, depending on what my tomorrow looks like. I'm not 100% sure. I might be busy all day tomorrow, though. But for at least tonight, I should be on sometime after 9 o'clock my time. So 9-ish after that, 9 Central, I should be on stream playing The Last of Us Part 2 for the beginning. So that's where I'll be tonight. I've got things to do now and earlier in the night. I'll start, hopefully over the next couple of days, start getting caught back up on the archives. I've got quite a bit backed up that I need to transfer over and everything, and it'll take a little bit more time. So I'll start working on that over the next 2 or 3 days here as well, and hopefully get caught up on that. So like I said, maybe streams tomorrow, but not 100% sure. But definitely tonight, unless something horrible happens, I should be on starting The Last of Us Part 2. So until then, take it easy. I forgot I have to go into here and then go back to title screen. All right, I'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you, or Saturday, and I'll see you later tonight.